Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? All right, there we go. How do I pause? There we go. How's it going? Welcome to Pitted with Action in Manny V. As you can see, it looks like it's going to be solo today. Action Jackson messaged me yesterday or the day before and said his work schedule changed. So I didn't want to cancel this Pitted. So we are going to rock. Let me just make sure we are good on this side. And we are recording on this. There it is. All right, so there you have it. So welcome everybody to Pitted with Action and Manny V. This is episode 307. Again, I didn't want to cancel this. Jackson cannot be here right now. So we're just I'll do some shout outs. I'll give you some info on the trips that I got going on for bodyboarding. And I pulled up, gosh, back in the day, in the 80s, 90s, into the 2000s, there were these shows called the Action Sports Trade Shows. And so you'd have all these surf companies, action sports companies from skating, snowboard, surfing. And back in the 90s, bodyboarding was a big part of it too. So you'd piece together this portfolio. Dang, I should show you mine over here. I'll bring it out. But you put all your newspaper clippings, your magazine clippings. This was pre-internet, pre-Facebook, all of that. So you couldn't just show on your phone your portfolio. You had to carry around this like yeah, ASR. There's Art right there. He's in the chat, YouTube chat. So if you're watching on YouTube, uh, drop me a message there. I'll be peeking over there to the chat box. But yeah, the ASR, there was one here on the West Coast, actually two back in the day, one in San Diego and one in Long Beach. And gosh, man, they were amazing. You'd show up with your portfolio, walking around and going to these companies and trying to, rub elbows with the team manager of those companies. And you just try to get sponsored from by them. And this was your best opportunity to be able to be face to face with these companies and the team managers. So this was the perfect time to actually, if anything, meet the people. If they're looking for people to sign and you show them what they like, boom, you have a second meeting shortly after the trade show. If anything, you just dropped a little morsel in their mind and let them know, hey, I'm interested and I'm going to keep plugging away on my end. And if there's an opportunity, let's reconnect. And that both of those scenarios happened to me just at being there at the right time when this company was looking for another rider, a bodyboarder. Because back in the day, Quicksilver, Billabong, Gotcha, all these surf brands were actually sponsoring bodyboarders and paying them money, whether it's incentives, travel fund, whatever. But for a moment there, Roach and I were on the Quicksilver team together, which was really cool. The warehouse was in Costa Mesa, so it was freaking awesome. picking up Roach and going up to Quicksilver, or taking some of my guys, friends from IB up there to this warehouse that was as big as freaking Walmart. And you'd roll up and they said, okay, get whatever you need. Being, freaking, just freaking hungry bodyboarder. I, I don't know where I got it from, but if somebody says, yeah, take whatever you want or whatever you need, of course I'm gonna grab a shit ton of stuff. And that's what I did. I had like four giant piles of clothes and jackets and denim jeans, t-shirts, trunks, all of it. Big, big piles. And Roach would show up with maybe a half of a pile that I had. Uh, Not half of the piles. He would have half of one of the piles that I've had. I'm like, dude, get more, dude. Like, this isn't gonna last forever, so might as well take full advantage of it. And he was cool with it. He didn't want to do that, and that was his character. Um, so the team manager would see the our stuff. He's like, man, is this yours? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you need, okay. He wouldn't even question it. So every time I went up there, which was like every other month, next thing you know, everybody in IB was wearing Quicksilver because I'd be giving all that shit away. Of course, I would keep all the cool stuff like snowboard jackets. It was freaking insane. So back to the trade show. My portfolio was up in the closet. I pulled it down. I'm like, you know what? Jackson's not going to be here. I'm just going to scan a couple photos and then I'll just talk about it. I know I talk a lot, but I really don't like to talk about myself. Maybe it's something I got to get over. But I did pull a couple photos and I'll just talk about this one wave, this one session that happened on the North Shore. I think it was in like 96, 97. I think that's when Nick Mesritz was on the North Shore, shaping boards for the Tubes team riders, which was freaking awesome. His shack was in Honolulu. So he'd get on the bus and take the bus for like an hour into Honolulu, shape boards in this hot freaking shaping shack, and then bring boards back to the North Shore for all the riders, Kyle Milagro, Ross McBride, myself, and any of the international riders that rolled into town. So we had our own private shaper, which was pretty amazing. And the reason why I pointed out it's the year that this photo or photos that I'm going to show you is when it happened, and I'm actually riding on one of Mez's custom boards, and I freaking wish I had it still because it was one of the fastest drop knee boards I've ever had. I most likely just gave it away to a traveling bodyboarder who didn't have a board or whatever. I don't know. I usually give away all my shit, but I'll talk about the photos in a bit. First, shout outs. My shout out goes to this guy right here. Let me pull this up real quick. Because when I was going through my portfolio, uh, a lot of the photos in my portfolio was from this guy right here, Jeff Flint. Jeff Flint is from Orange County, San Juan Capistrano, maybe, or Dana Point. Yeah, Dana Point. And Jeff Flint and I traveled the world, um, looking for waves and photographing waves. Like he was my photographer for gosh, maybe 4 years, 5 years. Tyler Moriarty from IB, he was the man. Like he was the local dude here in San Diego who was just getting legit photos. He was our camera guy, um, when we were in town. But once I started traveling more and getting in the magazines more, the photographers, would be working with the magazines would put together these trips, and I befriended Jeff, and yeah, we traveled the world together, and it was freaking amazing. We were on the same page. We knew when to party and we knew when to work, and that was crucial. And we both were resourceful. Like we'd end up in the middle of Mexico without whatever we needed, but we'd be able to pull it off. And it was cool because being a Southern California dude, he understood the Mexican culture. So whenever we went to Mexico, he fit right in, even though he's a white boy. And yeah, it was friggin' awesome. And so if you get a chance, follow him, Jeff Flint. That's three F's right there. And he doesn't have a lot of posts, but shortly after Billabong, Quicksilver, and all those surf brands pulled out of bodyboarding, which was around 97, 90, 96, around there. Um, Jeff saw that there wasn't, a lot of money. And he didn't bail bodyboarding because of that, but he knew that he still had to work. So he went into the shooting more surfing, and he hung out with this guy for a while, and they were traveling around for, gosh, I don't even know how long, but Flint was Kelly's photographer for a pretty, gosh, I don't know how many years. I should ask him, but a lot of Kelly's photos during the mid 90s were from Jeff. And then he got into, just like, he knew how to shoot, so he can pick up the camera and go shoot rock bands. But Slater, let's see what this book is. Young Guns, Mentawise, 2004. So yeah, like he has stockpiles of, as Demia Dorsey, another photographer from San Diego, from IB, pretty much says it right there. The golden age of the surf industry. And it was the 2000s, early 2000s, and Flint was right in the middle of it. But he always, he knew where he came from. And like a lot of his photos around the world in the magazines at that time were from him. And yeah, so 98, that was 98. And he was friends with Rob Machado. He is the man. Like, he went from bodyboarding, he's a bodyboarder. I think he rode a BZ, a bend board, or was it a Barba board? I'm not sure. But so yeah, he's freaking in with the surf community. And there's Todd Glazier. Um, I think I remember we went to Las Vegas just to shoot this. So we put my Vespa in the back of his truck, and I brought my clothes, and we did a photo shoot on the Vegas Strip during, God, when was this? I'm not sure, but that was super fun. It was freaking so epic. And we did a lot of cool things like that. But yeah, so this is him. Um, like, he was the guy. And we got a cover shot. This was one of our trips down to mainland Mexico, where we got robbed, and it was at gunpoint. But man, the freaking 3 or 4 weeks that we did traveling from San Diego to this secret spot down in mainland Mexico was amazing. And this beach right here was one of those roads that you just turn off and you go to the end and you look down and there's perfection. That's where this photo came from. So yeah, we did a lot together. It was freaking pretty awesome. But he's a bodyboarder. I think that's Donovan Frankenreiter. He knows all the guys. Like, he is the man. So my shout outs go to this guy right here, Jeff Flint. Thank you so much for all the years. Freaking love you, dude. He is now living in Sweden with his beautiful family. He has 2 kids, and Carolyn, is his beautiful wife. And yeah, like I said, he's a bodyboarder. And he knows the ins and outs of bodyboarding. Here's a photo of Tom Mori. But yeah, so if you want, follow this guy. There's young Jamie O'Brien, and you can just scroll through. He doesn't have too many posts, like under 700 or under 1,000, but he'll pop in. He got this shot of Dub on the cover. So he is, he's everywhere, and I love him, miss him. He came out last year, I think, to visit. There you go. My shout outs go to this guy right here, Jeff Flint. Thank you so much for the good times. Love you, brother. Bodyboarding news. What do I got? Oh man, why is the camera like that? I guess it'll be okay for now. I got a couple spots. Cabo Freak Fest, that is coming up in August. I got Pat Codwell and Ben Severson. I think the last one I said JP Patterson, but Ben Severson and Pat Codwell will be coming with us to Cabo San Lucas, and Jimmy Hutaf, the wizard, will be there. Um, and Cameron Steele. Cameron Steele is going to pop in for a day or two because he's one of the most busy guys that I know, and he will be there though. That's going to be freaking pretty awesome. Um, and Puerto Rico in November with Jacob Romero. I got 2 spots left. This is going to be a super close, tight-knit trip. There's only going to be 4 of you plus J Rom and myself. And we're going to get a van and go all around Puerto Rico, do it all. We're going to get in the water, but we're also going to go explore and take full advantage of the enchanted island. So those are 2 trips I got lined up for this year for bodyboarding. Cabo in August, and in November, Jacob Romero. I do have a trip in October. Let me look at my calendar here. I think it's from the 12th through the 17th of October. Um, that one is going to be at Surf Abu Dhabi, the wave pool. I think I have 4 sessions lined up. They're about 90 sessions and 90-minute sessions, and you get about 10 waves. And we got 4 of those sessions, and it's going to go down in October. It's not a cheap trip. It's going to be 6 grand for the 12th through the 17th for those 4 sessions, but it's going to include your food, your hotel, transportation. Doesn't include your airfare, so add another 14 to $2,000 on top of that. So it's going to be about an $8,000 trip. But if you got money and you want to put this wave pool on your or check it off your bucket list, this is going to be a good time to go because I got a couple friends over there that are going to be taking care of us as far as telling us where to go, how to have the most fun, and take care of us while we're at the Surf Abu Dhabi wave pool park. We're going to have access to the gym, to the pool, to pretty much the whole area while we're there. And then we'll have our sessions as well. I'm pretty freaking stoked on that. I think I have 2 people already locked in, and I need at least 5. So if Surf Abu Dhabi is on your bucket list, this would be a good time to go. Join me, and then you're gonna get all the videos that are being shot from the Surf Abu Dhabi facility. Plus, they're going to let me go in the water, and I'm going to be taking water footage from in the water. So I'm freaking super stoked on that. Surf Abu Dhabi in October, Jacob Romero in Puerto Rico in November, and Ben Severson and Pat Caldwell in August. That's going to be freaking pretty awesome with Cameron Steele and Jimmy Hutaf. Friggin' stoked. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I think oh yeah, story time. Let me pull this photo up. I'm trying not to take much of your time. I just want to talk about this wave. Here we go. So this wave right here, this was a session in 1997. This photo is from a French magazine, and the French loved me. It was friggin' awesome. I friggin' love France for that reason, just because they knew how to have fun. And whenever I went to France or whenever I got together with some French bodybuilders, it was all about having a good time, going out, partying, having nice dinners, and it was just freaking pretty awesome. But Body Rider was one of 2 French magazines that they had at the time, and this was the cover shot of 1997, the photo annual. And this photo right here is shot. There was 3 legendary photographers in the water. The one who took this was Aaron Lloyd. Right here is Aaron Chang, and right here is Chris Van Lennep. Chris Van Lennep is a legendary photographer from South Africa. Aaron Chang is from San Diego. His dad was actually my math teacher in junior high. And Aaron Lloyd, who shot this photo, is from Arroyo Grande, Pismo Beach area. And those 3 photographers were the best water photographers at that time. So when I was at Backdoor, it was like perfect freaking size. Like 3 to 5 foot, occasional 6 foot wave would come in, and it was just beautiful. The water color was perfect. The sun was out, and it was manageable. The crowd was manageable at that time. Like I was able to get this wave at backdoor, and and I knew these guys were in the water in the channel. So whenever you're going for a wave and you know these guys are sitting in the channel, you better not fuck up. And that's what I was taught on my very first trip with Aaron Lloyd to Cabo San Lucas. And so yeah, I paddled into this thing, got up, and it's super steep, super fast drop. And yeah, I was able to frickin' just hold the rail. Again, this board right here, frick, I wish I still had it. I'm still wearing the blunt cuts at that time, and Alita was sponsoring me, and yeah, it was freaking epic. So held the rail, bottom turn, and just freaking sat upright on the knee, and it felt like I was at Boca Rio on a big day, just reeling off the sandbar. And this shot was, of course, Aaron Lloyd, who's behind Aaron Chang and behind Chris Van Lennep. Believe it or not, there's actually a pecking order. I think they all knew each other, but Chris had a special talent of getting a certain angle, and he would end up right about here when he took his photos. Chang would be at probably wait a little bit more too. You see how the camera's pointing this way? He's just waiting and lining it up. And see how Van Lennep is pointing his camera upward. That's because he has a fisheye lens. And if he pointed it straight at me, he would cut off the lip. So if you point it up, you're going to get the entire wave. And this is what I mean. This is Chris Van Lennep's shot of the same wave. And so Aaron Chang would be right, gosh, way over here. And this one wave got the cover shot here. Um, and this was Chris Van Lennep's shot in, I think, Bodyboarding magazine. And then Aaron Chang had a double page spread. I got another page spread, I think, in Riptide magazine of the same wave. And here's that board. Fuck, I should have kept that board. Damn it. But yeah, this board was freaking short, a narrow nose and just super fine line. And where is that board? If anybody has this board, freaking, I would be stoked to buy it off you. It's probably still in good shape because he was using gosh, I think he was using Polypro. I think he added 3 stringers on this, and it was just immaculate. I'm freaking pissed I gave it away. But yeah, backdoor pipeline. It doesn't look like this wave looks way bigger than that, even though it's the same wave. I think just the angle. But this was one wave that pretty much freaking scored a lot of photos for me in '97, just from one freaking wave, a cover and two page spreads. So I was freaking pretty pumped on that. This says August '96. I think they probably sent the photos over to these guys after everybody had their opportunity in the States, because I think Aaron Lloyd would send his to Bodyboarding magazine and then send them out if they didn't want to use them. And the photographers were getting paid by the bodyboarding magazines as well. So they were double dipping for surfing and bodyboarding, which was pretty smart on those guys. So I just wanted to share that wave. Again, if you guys see this board anywhere, let me know. It's tubes written on here, Alita, and a gold. It had like a gold deck, and it was regular foam. So yeah, let me know if you guys find it. Cool. There you go. So a little story time. I don't have a motivational quote. That's Jackson. And I didn't really look for a video. Again, that's Jackson, but I just wanted to just touch base with you guys, give you guys a little story from back in the day. Next up for interviews, gosh, I reached out to a couple guys and they said, yes, let's do it. And I do plan on doing another shaping live video on from a shaping shack. I reached out to Jimmy Linville. Actually, I reached to Jeff Bragg to get Linville's information, and Bragger said he was going to contact him for me, but I haven't heard anything yet. That was a week ago. But Chad Stickney, he's right here in Laguna Beach, and I think I'm gonna just roll up there either early next week because I'm busy this weekend. But be ready for that. We'll do a live shot from Chad Stickney's Shaping Shack. So please have any questions that you guys want to know about how boards are shaped. I'm going to ask Chad to prep a board, have a board bottom already, um, heated on there, and then I'll ask him if he can just take us through the process of making a board so we can have that and share that with you guys. So if you guys think that's cool, um, let me know. Kurt, Art, Arcel back then, there was a lot of Arcel being used, but I wasn't a big fan just because whenever you're writing, freaking elbow dents will never go away. And once you crease it, once you like it gets creased, then it doesn't go back. It's pretty much done. So I shied away from the RCL as much as I could. I did write a couple RCL boards here and there, but yeah, I was not a fan. If it was either um, extruded EP, which was Dalcor, then yeah, I'd use extra stringer and mesh and do whatever I can to stiffen it up. But Polypro was coming into play back then, so pretty amped on that. That I was able to have access to that for a few years on the North Shore, or at least one winter on the North Shore. All right, so there you have it. Thanks again for you guys' support. If you guys haven't checked out the Jack Lindholm interview, go check it out. It's freaking pretty awesome. I was ready to smoke a joint just because I felt like he was smoking joints when he was taking a break. I don't know if that's true or not. I should ask him, but he needed a break, whether to use the restroom or go do whatever. Don't quote me on that. Don't tell him I said that. But yeah, so I will be back Monday with Pitted. Jackson will be here 5 o'clock Los Angeles time, and I'll throw these images up on boogLIFE so you guys can download them and then just refer to them when you come down to Pitted 307 and you can hear the story then. All right, you guys, I'm out. I'm gonna go ride bikes with my godson, and yeah. Oh, one last thing. If you guys watching this and you are a Pipeline patron, send me a photo of you guys riding waves. I'll put it over here. I'll put it up here on the wall. It's actually, a green screen and I can switch out these photos no problem. So Art, if you have any photos of you riding, send them over. Any of the Pipeline patrons, that'll be a perk for being the top tier supporter. So again, thank you guys for supporting. We got some interviews lining up, so be ready for those. All right, I'm out.